Well, I decided I'd come on today and decided I was feeling a little bit better today. I've kind of been out to do a few things I needed to do, and we had a good Fourth at my house, and so didn't get on here to wish you all a happy Fourth when we had it, but I will say that things went well here, and Mom's back home. She's better now, and well, not completely better, but having to rest a lot. But the good news is she's home, and on we had the Fourth a couple nights ago, and she was out there on the porch with my siblings and my niece shooting off fireworks. My siblings' mother and grandmother was there. I mean, my niece's mother and grandmother was there, and so I was in here watching a Capitol Fourth kind of thing I usually do. Kind of tend to like to be by myself a lot, so that's kind of what we've been doing, how that's been going. I'd say that there's just a little more work to come along as far as making this little snowman goes. I'd like to put a little extra work into him, and I say that this is just where we're going to carve along these lines, make it a little bit better as it can really be, and so time to kind of like put a little extra chip into what we do, and all the things I say these snowmen have. I tell y'all, it's kind of good thing we've got this material to carve. That kind of makes it so I can include a hat in there. When I made those little flat snowmen, it was really hard to really make a hat on them, but I'd say when it comes down to what we can carve out, that kind of, I'd say, makes it come out just a little bit better. I tell you, all this scroll saw work like I used to do, it's just a common thing, and just kind of something everybody does, or a lot of people do, and more people do than carve. So I'd say that to really carve something out just makes it a little more unique and special. That's what I've kind of come to like about being able to have materials I can carve and good woods I can carve and things like that. That's just kind of how I've made this little bit of work come along. Oh, and I tell y'all that there's a lot of things I've seen in life, and seen a lot of those bowls people make from different things. I tell y'all, and probably I've also used to ask questions like about wood to make coffee mugs out of, and say they don't recommend wood as a substance for holding hot drinks. But I'll tell you, what I have seen is people make wine flasks from wood, things like that, but don't really use them all that often. I'd say we kind of got the hat and the sides of the face carved out here like they ought to be, and so we're going to try to put a little bit of work here and make it come along the way it ought to be. And so we're just chipping away at this plastic high density polyethylene, as they call it. I mean, I tell you, I put that in the tabs, in the, like, trying to think what they're called, what the hashtags, whatever it is, can't think of it, that go on the video. I tell you, I included in that, but that's just kind of what this is, so I kind of try to make the tags on the video so they kind of go with the theme a little bit. I'd say that this work is coming a long way. we're getting done to where it's all going to come down and see a little light in us, brighten us, brighten us. Oh, I tell y'all, little work to do, little ways we make things go, and I say that this is just a little bit as to how we do little work to make snowmen come the way they ought to be. I say that here we're probably getting polyethylene chips mixed up with wood chips in this little thing here, but you know, I haven't had a chance to clean this pan out, so that's kind of the way it's going as of right now. And I will say for one thing that when I'm kind of looking on here to see what else I might need to do, I think I'm pretty much kind of getting it along and making it about to where it kind of ought to be, and see how Santa is, or how Snowman comes along. Think about the time when Frosty got on Santa's sleigh and went back to the North Pole with him to come back again when it was cold again. Little funny things we know in life. I tell you, I have been told that you don't want to sand this stuff, but I tell you, there is a certain place on here that I sand a little bit with just a little bit of sandpaper, and probably not the toughest grit, but I'd say it kind of is something where when it all comes out of line on one side, you probably gotta sand the other side to make it come out a little better as it ought to be. And so when we come down to this, I say that it's going to work a way in making things to us. I say little Santa and snowmen. I'm probably going to be making Santas and other things too out of this high density polyethylene, but this is kind of our focus right now. The little snowmen is how it's coming out to be. And I tell y'all, if there was any brown plastic like this, it'd be good for making some gingerbread men out of. Probably too expensive to get for anything other than to buy for anything other than a cutting board, but I'd say when the cutting board gets to where it's no longer healthy to use, or when the inspectors start marking you off for it and making it so you have to throw it away, it becomes a good thing to save, out of which to make some good material, I say. And I like this kind of work a lot. It kind of works its way and makes it so we can see so much better and brighter. And so I've also heard a lot of things about this polyethylene, how you can kind of make boats out of it, make a little flat surface, drill a hole, put a sail in it, and even just with a little heat kind of melt it together so you don't have to glue it. I don't really have all the materials with which to do that kind of work. Probably wouldn't know how to do it if I did, and would probably cause it to melt all the way if I tried. So that's probably not something I'd say I'm quite ready to try to do yet, but it's going to be a little thing that's going to make its way along as I work into it. And so I say that this is just the little thing where snowmen come along just right. I say that we got to where we got this far. I don't know how long a video I can do on this, because turns out these things are really not that much work, and when it comes to the carving part, but when it comes down to the part where you start to paint them, that'll probably be a little more work in itself. So we might kind of have little step-by-step instructional videos as to how we do that, depending on what we come up with, what we have time for. I'd say that there's probably a few more places I'd probably like to be for the future. Don't know I'm going to make it there yet, but I'd say there's probably going to be time after I get back to work when school starts to be back in some different places again, because this is a time when I'm kind of taking things to the side, because there's going to be a little more work and places to do. I think I got a little place here where we can kind of carve out a little line here, make it so we see how this is going to make it come along. I say snowmen are just the thing. And I'm trying to look at this one, make sure I've got everything right in its places, and you see how I finally got the carvings to come along on these. Do have a little more to say because I was at my show in Winchester this weekend. We'll just kind of say it was a good opportunity to meet some new good people and make some new friends, but there's just little things about the event where, you know, I just might have to think it over before trying to go to another one out there. And, you know, I'd say that different things have happened at different ones of those events and different sipping shops out there I've been to, and it's all been a different experience. Sometimes, just sometimes, I tell you, I think if my mom hadn't been sick, I could have enjoyed it much better. But there's going to be times when we're just going to have to fulfill our commitments and go about our work, even though we might even have stuff going on in life, and it's all going to be different from one of us to the next. And I say, you know, when my grandmother was about my mom's age, she was getting surgery to get her corneas transplanted, and we didn't know how that was going to go. It seemed like it went well for her, but she's better off. I mean, she has had a stroke since then and is in heaven now, so that's kind of why we kind of got the Lord taking care of her and got more things we can kind of take care of here on earth. But I say, of all other things, that I'm glad to have you all come on here and watch what I do. Hope to be getting to feeling a little bit better soon. Maybe get back around to power carving some more of those little Alpine St. Nick's, but don't really have much time before my Christmas and July shows because they're coming up next weekend. So thank you all for watching, and take care.